Action 9 has poured over thousands of state inspections to find restaurants that keep breaking the rules and could make you sick. One of those restaurants was just closed by state inspectors after failing its latest inspection just today.
There's one fast food chain on this list that 73% of Americans ate at last week. And what health inspectors found in their kitchens made 3 of them quit their jobs on the spot. The worst part? It's probably your favorite restaurant. And what they're hiding isn't even illegal. You're staring at a Big Mac thinking it's just a burger. 2 patties, some lettuce, special sauce. Simple, right? Not even close. That single sandwich is packing 1,010 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly half your entire daily limit. And you haven't even touched the fries yet. But here's where it gets weird. Those beef patties? They're not just beef. McDonald's adds something called natural beef flavor, which sounds innocent enough. Except it contains wheat and milk derivatives. So if you've got allergies, that burger might send you to the hospital instead of satisfying your hunger. Now let's talk about those ice cream machines. Everyone jokes about them being broken. The real reason? The cleaning cycle takes 4 hours and fails constantly. When it fails, residue just sits inside. Delicious. And the McCafe machines are even worse. Former employees have come forward saying those milk tubes go weeks without a deep clean. Weeks. Milk. Tubes. I'll let that sink in. Oh, and those golden fries everyone loves? They're coated in dextrose, which is basically sugar, to get that perfect color. Plus, they contain beef flavoring. So vegetarians, you've been eating meat-flavored potatoes this whole time. A 2022 Consumer Reports study found McDonald's grilled chicken had the highest sodium levels of any tested fast food chain. The grilled chicken, the supposedly healthy option. But McDonald's isn't alone in these games. Burger King claims their patties are flame-grilled fresh. What's actually happening behind that counter might surprise you. That flame-grilled taste Burger King brags about? It's basically a magic trick. Here's how it actually works. The patties pass over gas-powered flames for maybe 6 seconds. Just enough to leave those pretty grill marks. Then, they sit in a warming drawer. When you order, they get microwaved back to life. Flame-grilled sounds so much better than briefly kissed by fire, then nuked, doesn't it? But the real kicker is what's hiding inside that Whopper. 11 grams of sugar. That's more than a glazed Krispy Kreme donut. In a burger. I had to read that twice myself. And then there's the zesty sauce. Sounds harmless. Contains titanium dioxide. That's a whitening agent some European countries have flat out banned from food. Americans, we're just dipping our chicken nuggets in it like nothing's wrong. Health inspectors have caught multiple Burger King locations storing raw meat directly above ready-to-eat foods. Cross-contamination waiting to happen. Former workers describe broiler conveyor belts caked with carbonized grease that hasn't been properly scrubbed in months. Now for the heavyweight champion of bad decisions. The Bacon King. One sandwich delivers 2,150 milligrams of sodium. 79 grams of fat. That's not a meal. That's your entire day's allowance stacked between 2 buns. Your arteries called. They're filing a restraining order. Think Burger King pushes the limits? Wait until you hear about the chain that claims fresh, never frozen, while hiding some seriously stale secrets. Wendy's loves that slogan. Fresh, never frozen. They practically tattoo it on everything. And yeah, their beef patties genuinely never see a freezer. Credit where it's due. But here's what they conveniently forget to mention. Their chicken nuggets? Frozen. The fish? Frozen solid. Most proteins that aren't beef arrive rock hard and sit in warming drawers for hours before hitting your tray. That famous Frosty you've been ordering since childhood contains over 15 ingredients. One of them is cellulose gum. Sounds fancy until you realize it's literally processed wood pulp. They use it as a thickener. You're essentially eating dessert with tree fiber mixed in. Now this next part genuinely surprised me. Their chili recipe starts with hamburger patties that sat on the grill too long. Overcooked burgers that couldn't be served get tossed into a pot, rehydrated, and become tomorrow's special. Waste not, want not, I suppose. A large chocolate Frosty packs 82 grams of sugar. That's like ripping open 20 sugar packets and dumping them straight down your throat. Your dentist just felt a disturbance in the force. And the lettuce? Multiple E. Coli outbreaks have been traced directly back to Wendy's. In 2022 alone, 109 people got sick across 6 states. All from salad greens. Those bagged greens arrive pre-washed. Sounds clean enough. Except the refrigeration units storing them frequently fail temperature compliance checks. Fresh beef, sure. But everything surrounding it tells a very different story. Speaking of misleading labels, wait until you hear what's actually inside Taco Bell's seasoned beef. A few months ago, I had no idea what a health ring even was until my fiancé got me one, and I have to say, I'm shocked this isn't a widely known and used product. It tracks my stress levels, and what I found out is that some supplements made my stress score spike, while others actually helped bring it down. I adjusted a few things based on that, and honestly, I feel 10 years younger. My wife mainly uses it to track her menstrual cycles, and she is obsessed with her sleep quality score. I noticed they are currently running a limited 69% discount, but I don't know how long it will last. It's currently only $60, and it's clear this one is the best bang for your buck, with other health rings priced around $350 with less functions. They managed to price it this low because they cut out the middleman like Amazon, Walmart, etc., who drive up the price and take a big margin, ending up with the customer paying 3 to 5 times more. If you are on TV, you can check it out yourself by pausing the video and scanning the QR code with your phone camera or clicking the first link in the description of this video. Taco Bell's seasoned beef is only 88% actual beef. The other 12%? Oats, yeast extract, and something called modified corn starch. They're basically stretching meat like your grandma stretched leftovers during the Depression. And they got sued for it. A law firm claimed Taco Bell couldn't legally call it beef. Taco Bell won, but only because the USDA requires just 40% meat to use that term. 40%. That's a low bar to clear. But here's what gets me. A single Nachos Bel Grande packs 1,350 milligrams of sodium. That's more than half your daily limit in what looks like a modest snack. You'd need to drink a gallon of water just to process it. The nacho cheese sauce? It comes in bags. Industrial bags that sit in warming units at 140 degrees for up to 5 hours. Former employees call it the orange mystery. Fair enough. Those beans aren't what you think either. They arrive as dehydrated flakes. Just add hot water, stir, and suddenly you've got refried beans. My grandmother would weep. Want dessert? The Cinnabon Delights pack 32 grams of sugar in a 12-pack. That's 8 teaspoons for what seems like a tiny treat. You're basically eating frosting with extra steps. The chain has faced multiple lawsuits over advertising fresh ingredients that actually arrive frozen and heavily processed. Fresh is doing a lot of heavy lifting in their marketing department. Speaking of creative definitions, Subway's been playing word games too. Subway built its entire empire on one word: fresh. But here's the thing. Ireland's Supreme Court looked at their bread and said, That's not bread. Legally, the sugar content is so high it fails to meet the legal definition of bread in Ireland. Your healthy sub is basically wrapped in cake. And the tuna situation? Independent labs tested it. They found no identifiable tuna DNA. None. Subway says the testing methods were flawed. Maybe. But when scientists can't find fish in your fish sandwich, that's not a great sign. Those crisp vegetables look appealing behind the glass, right? They arrive pre-sliced in plastic bags, and they can sit in those refrigerated bins for up to 3 days before making it onto your sandwich. 3 days of slowly wilting, while customers assume everything's freshly chopped. Here's where it gets wild. A foot-long Italian BMT packs 2,780 milligrams of sodium. That's more than your entire daily allowance. In one sandwich, you'd need to run a marathon just to work that off. The oven-roasted chicken sounds wholesome. Except former employees say it's actually boiled in bags, then sliced up and displayed like it just came out of an oven. Clever marketing. Absolutely. Accurate? Not quite. Remember when they removed azotocarbonamide from their bread back in 2014? They only did it after people discovered it's the same chemical used in yoga mats. Took public outrage to make that change. Speaking of chicken prepared in questionable ways, wait until you hear what the Colonel's been hiding. Now, let's talk about the Colonel's secret recipe. Spoiler alert. It's not just 11 herbs and spices. KFC pressure fries their chicken in oil that might not get fully changed for an entire week. They just top it off with fresh oil daily. So that piece you're eating, it's been swimming in the same bath as hundreds of chickens before it. One extra crispy breast packs 1,190 milligrams of sodium. That's before you even look at the sides. Speaking of sides, let's discuss those mashed potatoes. They arrive as dehydrated flakes in bags. Just add water and margarine. Your grandma would be horrified. Actually, she'd probably throw the whole kitchen out. But the gravy is where things get really interesting. Workers scrape the crusty buildup from the bottom of the fryers, mix it with water and gravy powder, and boom! That's your gravy. Delicious carbonized chicken residue, served hot. Health department records paint a rough picture too. KFC consistently ranks among the highest for temperature violation citations. Chicken needs to stay hot or cold. The danger zone in between? That's where bacteria throw parties. And those fluffy biscuits? They contain partially hydrogenated oils. That's artificial trans fat, the stuff directly linked to heart disease. Most companies eliminated it years ago. The Colonel built an empire on finger-licking good chicken. The taste is genuinely addictive. But knowing how it's made might make you lick your fingers a little less enthusiastically. Still hungry? Wait until you hear about America's most beloved chicken chain. Chick-fil-A has this squeaky clean reputation. Polite employees. My pleasure, after every order. It's basically the Disney World of fast food. But here's what that friendly service distracts you from. Their signature chicken sandwich contains MSG. Nothing shocking there, except it's hidden under 3 different names on the ingredient label. Yeast extract, hydrolyzed proteins, and good old monosodium glutamate itself. Same thing, different disguises. The waffle fries? Cooked in peanut oil that gets filtered daily. Sounds responsible, but that oil can stay in rotation for up to 2 weeks straight. Just topped off and kept going. Now let's talk about that large frosted lemonade everyone loves. 82 grams of sugar. That's more than 2 full cans of Coke. In one drink. On a hot summer day, you're basically chugging liquid candy. And the chicken itself? Over 30 ingredients, including sodium aluminum phosphate and dimethylpolysiloxane. That last one is also found in silly putty. Delicious, right? Here's where it gets interesting. The Cobb salad, the healthy choice. With dressing, you're looking at 1,180 calories and 80 grams of fat. You'd be better off eating 2 Big Macs. Former employees have shared that the chicken marinates in pickle juice brine for up to 2 days. That's where the signature flavor comes from. Also where massive sodium loads sneak in before any cooking happens. But Chick-fil-A seems wholesome compared to what's lurking at our next stop. Arby's claims they have the meats. What they actually have might surprise you. Now, you might think Arby's roast beef comes from, an actual roast. A solid cut of meat, sliced fresh. Nope. It arrives at stores as a paste-like substance in sealed bags. Staff mold it into shape, then slow roast it on site. The result looks like roast beef. Tastes close enough. But that journey from bag paste to sandwich meat? That's a story Arby's doesn't put in commercials. And speaking of misleading names, let's talk about that cheddar sauce. It contains 0 actual cheddar cheese. What you're getting is processed cheese product swimming in yellow dye and preservatives. I once asked for extra cheddar thinking I was being fancy. Turns out, I just wanted more food coloring. Great. The numbers don't help either. A beef and cheddar classic packs 1,280 milligrams of sodium and 39 grams of fat. For a sandwich that barely fills your hand. But here's where it gets ridiculous. The Meat Mountain sandwich delivers 1,350 calories and 3,610 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly 2 days of salt in one meal. Those famous curly fries? They contain almost 50 ingredients. 50. For a potato, one of those ingredients is disodium dihydrogen pyrophosphate. Its job? Keeping that unnatural orange color looking fresh. Former workers report the meat slicer often goes entire shifts without proper sanitization. Blades spinning all day, collecting bacteria between every order. And if you think drive-in service keeps things cleaner, Sonic has entered the chat. Sonic's car hops roller skating to your window looks adorable. What's inside your cup? Less adorable. Independent health inspections have tested Sonic's ice and found bacterial contamination levels higher than toilet water samples. Let that sink in. You're sipping a drink that's technically dirtier than what you flush. The ice machines sit in humid environments, rarely get deep cleaned, and become breeding grounds for nastiness. But here's where it gets wild. Order a Route 44 Cherry Limeade, thinking it's a refreshing choice. You just consumed 99 grams of sugar. That's equivalent to eating 7 full-size Hershey's bars through a straw in one sitting. My dentist just felt a disturbance in the force. The hot dogs? They're living their best life on those rolling warmers for up to 4 hours. Bacteria throws a party around hour 2. Now, if you really want to punish yourself, try the peanut butter bacon shake. 1,940 calories. That's basically tomorrow's food budget in a cup. I've eaten entire Thanksgiving dinners with fewer calories. Health inspectors have repeatedly caught Sonic employees handling cash, then immediately touching food. No glove change. No hand washing, just straight from dirty money to your burger. Delightful. And for anyone with food allergies, here's a fun gamble. The tots, fries, fish, and chicken all share the same fryer oil. Cross-contamination isn't a bug. It's a feature. Speaking of fried things done wrong, Louisiana-style fast food sounds authentic. Until you see what Popeyes actually does to their chicken. Popeyes built its entire reputation on bold Cajun flavor. But here's what that bold flavor actually costs you. A single breast from Popeyes packs 1,330 milligrams of sodium. That's more than KFC, more than Chick-fil-A, more than any major chicken chain. Period. You're eating nearly your entire daily salt allowance in one piece of chicken. Now, let's talk about those biscuits. People lose their minds over these things. And honestly, they're delicious. But each one contains 14 grams of fat, made with lard. You're basically eating butter in biscuit form. Tasty? Absolutely. Good for your arteries? Not so much. And the healthy option. The blackened chicken gets marketed as the lighter choice. Sounds reasonable. Grilled instead of fried. But that dark color comes from caramel coloring. The same stuff that's been linked to potential carcinogens in lab studies. Your diet option might have its own problems. Here's what really got me, though. Former employees have come forward saying the chicken sits in warming cabinets up to 90 minutes past the supposed discard time. That's an hour and a half beyond when it should have been thrown out. But throwing away chicken costs money. Serving old chicken? Free. Order a sandwich with fries and a drink, and you're looking at over 1,700 calories. For lunch, one meal. That's most people's entire day right there. But Popeyes isn't the only chain treating soft serve loosely. Dairy Queen has its own definition of ice cream. Here's the thing about Dairy Queen. Their soft serve isn't ice cream. Legally, it can't be called that. The FDA requires a minimum milk fat content to earn the ice cream label, and DQ doesn't hit that mark. So what are you actually eating? A frozen dairy dessert. Sounds appetizing, right? But the real damage comes from the blizzards. A large Oreo blizzard packs 1,140 calories, 112 grams of sugar. That's more than 4 Snickers bars blended into a cup. I tried finishing one once. My teeth hurt for 2 days. Now let's talk about those burger grill marks. They look so perfect, so evenly spaced. That's because they're painted on at the factory before the patties get frozen and shipped. Your burger never touched an actual grill. It touched a microwave and some food-grade ink. Want something substantial? The chicken strip basket sounds reasonable. Until you learn, it contains 2,490 milligrams of sodium. That's more than your entire daily limit. In one basket. For lunch. Former employees have shared that blizzard machines get cleaned just once daily. Throughout those busy hours, mix residue builds up inside the tubes. Delicious. And that chocolate dip coating on the cones? It contains paraffin wax, the exact same stuff used in candles, and floor polish. You're essentially eating dessert, wearing a thin layer of what belongs under furniture. Speaking of unexpected ingredients, Jack in the Box has a history that makes painted grill marks seem charming. Jack in the Box has a past it can't outrun. In 1993, undercooked patties caused the deadliest E. coli outbreak in fast food history. 4 children died. Over 700 people got sick. That's not ancient history. That's a stain that changed food safety laws across America. You'd think they'd be extra careful now, right? Well, here's where it gets weird. Their famous tacos contain texturized vegetable protein mixed with beef. But they're not labeled as meat alternatives. They're not labeled as beef either. They exist in some strange middle ground where nobody really knows what they're eating. And people order millions of these things weekly. The buttermilk in their crispy chicken? Powder. Just powder mixed with water at each location. Nothing buttermilk about it except the name on the menu. Former employees paint an even grimmer picture. That taco meat? It sits in warming trays so long it turns gray. Gray. the color of forgotten leftovers and bad decisions. Oh, and their Bacon Ultimate Cheeseburger delivers 1,120 calories and 77 grams of fat. That's essentially eating a stick of butter with some bread around it. My doctor would have a heart attack just reading that sentence. Their seasoned curly fries contain dimethylpolysiloxane. Sound familiar? It's an anti-foaming chemical also found in silicone products. Delicious. Jack in the Box survived their scandal. They reformed. But some habits die hard. Speaking of dying hard, wait until you see what Hardee's and Carl's Jr. consider a reasonable portion size. Hardee's and Carl's Jr. decided portion control was for cowards. The Monster Thick Burger packs 1,330 calories and 95 grams of fat. That's more than most adults should consume in an entire day. In one sandwich. For lunch. And people wonder why their pants stopped fitting. But here's where it gets legally interesting. Carl's Jr. faced multiple class action lawsuits over their 100% Black Angus beef advertising. Turns out, that claim was about as solid as their cheese product. Not a great look when you're charging premium prices. Their fries aren't innocent either. A large order of their natural cut fries sounds wholesome, right? 530 calories. Plus sodium acid pyrophosphate. Whatever that is, it definitely doesn't grow in potato fields. Now about those biscuits. They're marketed as made fresh. Reality check, though. They arrive frozen from central facilities and get reheated on-site. Fresh from the freezer technically counts, I suppose. Health inspectors have repeatedly flagged locations for meat storage temperatures exceeding safety limits. Nothing says appetizing like warm raw beef sitting in the danger zone. Want breakfast instead? A single breakfast burrito contains 2,380 milligrams of sodium. That's your entire daily allowance. Before noon. Before coffee even kicks in properly. I'll admit, their charbroiled burgers smell incredible driving past. My arteries, however, file complaints every time I consider stopping. Speaking of questionable morning choices, there's a donut chain where the pastries might sit around longer than you'd expect. Dunkin built an empire on the promise of fresh donuts. Here's the reality. Those donuts? They're par-baked in massive central facilities, shipped to stores, then finished on site. Sometimes they sit in display cases for 18 hours before someone buys them. Fresh is doing some heavy lifting in their marketing. But the donuts aren't even the worst part. Order a large frozen coffee with cream, and you're consuming 990 calories. That's more than a Big Mac and medium fries combined. In liquid form, through a straw. Gone in 15 minutes. Now let's talk about their breakfast sandwiches. You'd think egg is just egg. Not at Dunkin. Their egg contains 14 ingredients, including cellulose gum, xanthan gum, and citric acid. My grandmother's eggs had one ingredient: eggs. The croissants sound fancy and French. They contain 19 grams of fat each, including partially hydrogenated oils. That's artificial trans fat territory. The stuff cardiologists have nightmares about. And those flavor swirl pumps that make your latte taste like birthday cake? Former employees report they develop mold inside if nobody disassembles and cleans them weekly. Guess how often that actually happens at busy locations? Want a glazed jelly stick with your coffee? That's 54 grams of sugar, 13 teaspoons, in one pastry. Most people eat it without thinking twice, washing it down with a sweetened coffee that adds even more. Speaking of sugar bombs disguised as meals, our final stop might be the biggest offender of them all. And finally, we land on Panda Express, the chain that convinced America it was eating Chinese food. Spoiler alert, it's not. Real Chinese cuisine is about balance. Fresh vegetables, light sauces, actual wok technique. Panda Express threw all that out the window and replaced it with sugar bombs wrapped in orange glaze. Speaking of which, their orange chicken contains 490 calories per serving. That's not the shocking part. The 50-plus grams of sugar hiding in that sticky coating? That's the problem. You're basically eating candy that happens to be shaped like chicken. Order a plate with fried rice and 2 entrees, and you're looking at 1,500 calories minimum. 3,000 milligrams of sodium. That's more salt than a day at the beach. The ocean beach, not the volleyball kind. Here's something the Wok Fresh marketing won't mention. Those noodles arrive frozen from factories. The wok cooking is really just reheating with extra oil. And the food sits in steam tables for hours between servings. Ever wonder why their teriyaki looks so perfectly caramelized? Darkening agents. They're literally painting their food to look more appetizing. But the Beijing beef takes the crown. 28 grams of sugar per serving. That's a full Snickers bar. Except nobody thinks they're eating dessert when they order beef. My fortune cookie prediction? After watching this video, you'll think twice before hitting any of these 15 chains. Your stomach will thank you later.